Yeah, welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our online and newspaper review with two of my co-hosts, as you already know, in the persons of Miss Miriam Abnadidi and Mr. Clement Yabankwe. Hello, motivational speakers. Yes, good morning once again.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
We are doing so well. I mean, we are fortunate to be starting a new month.
Yeah.
In a new week. On the first day of Cocoa Digest, which is a Tuesday. And I have to say, it's just we just feeling, grateful to God for everything He's done for us. I mean, reflecting on the past 9 months that we've been in existence in 2024, we all know how tough this year has been, but God has kept us and He's taken us through. And we are hoping that, the rest of the months ahead, all the ER months are going to end well. So that's how I feel.
Thank you.
Okay. I feel good. I must say I feel good because we started the year with a lot of people. And this is the 10th month, as you said earlier. And God has been so good. If viewers would recall the music we played earlier before the start of the show, the gospel singer said, God is my defender and He is the one I depend on. So for January to September, He has been our defender. He has been the one we've been depending on. And one thing I love about the music was that they were saluting God. It was like, yes, sir. So the only thing I and Clock TV want to say is we want to salute God for what He has done. But Yaira, let me say a little bit about the month of October. You see, the month of October, as we know, is a 10th month. And the number 10 represents a lot when you go into the numerical world. But away from that, let's just get a bit history about October. The month of October actually came from a Latin word known as the octo. And in the olden days, around 713 BC, in the Roman calendar, the month October was the 8th month before the king introduced the January and February, where it shifts October to the 10th month as we actually know. And in those days, the October used to be the harvest month, a month of harvest, a month of bountiful season. So you don't be surprised that this October we find ourselves, a lot of churches will be using the season of harvest as their month, the theme for the month, that kind of cycle. So October has been one of the nice months that you can talk of. In as much as I'm not October born, but I'm so proud. I'm so proud of that.
Maybe he knows someone who's an October born.
I have no idea about that.
So we already have a comment from our very own Obiba Wilson, and he says, "Good morning, Yaira. Please, how are you doing this morning? I'm very well, thank you, and I hope you are too. I wish you all a happy new month and hashtag Breast Cancer Awareness Month." Yes. So yes, October, we know we have this month as our Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Clock TV, of course, will not be excluded from breast cancer awareness. We will be having conversations on breast cancer for both men and women, preventive measures, symptoms, everything related to breast cancer awareness. So, of course, stay tuned. Along the line in the show, Miriam and her guest will be talking about fitness, exercise. So maybe you see Miriam exercising or wearing some, workout gear.
They can't miss this because, it is going to be fireworks in the studio this
I think
morning.
it's all in relation to the Breast Cancer Awareness Month because it's exercise, so it's all in relation to that.
Yes, just as
so
you're healthy.
Viewers should watch so that they'll know how they would practice it on their various partners.
And then also Clement will be bringing us the world of business news from there. And of course, on the main segment, we'll be discussing the impact of IT on business growth. So stay tuned. Now, we also have more comments. So Biba Wilson again says, Mimi, you cheated on Mimi. She said she's done with you. And then D&J Ventures also says, good morning. Good morning to you all. Thank you for your comments. And we hope to receive more. So yes, Trending news. What is trending?
Yeah.
It is well.
It is well. Today I have two sad news. The first is about the Oburi girls' headmistress who lost her life whilst performing her duty in Italy. It's so sad.
Yeah.
And we say, may her soul rest in perfect peace. And then the other one happens to be a student of UDS who was found dead. That was somewhere September 25th. And when you go through the background of the story, you get to understand that he said he went out to watch football, and they announced that his motorbike and his phones they can't identify any of them. So they tried searching around for them to know that he's dead, and he was stabbed. He was stabbed for so many times. And the family says no. They demand justice.
Yeah.
Yes, from the police. And the school authorities are also not resting on the matter. They are also putting measures in place to make sure that the culprit is dealt with. So these are the two sad stories I have this morning.
Well, let me stay on the second story and just see something small. You know, when it comes to universities, our freedoms are, given to us. We are not restricted to go anywhere because we are seen as adults.
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, I don't know the time as at when he went out to watch the football, but I just want to, admonish all university students watching us that they need to be very careful.
Sure.
They need to at least inform one or two people where they are going to, their whereabouts, and the students also walk alone for security reasons, because mostly these football matches are played late in the evening, right? And it is unfortunate that our brother found himself in such a situation. It is very sad. But I also have some interesting stories here. And the first one has to do with the Electoral Commission is set to address concerns with the voters' register, presentation to political parties today. So we are expecting that meeting will go on today. EC is set to meet the political parties and present the voter registration.
Is it the revised one or the...
I'm hoping it's the revised, because if it is not, I don't think the National Democratic Congress will smile at that.
Yeah.
We also have a form of debate that, sprang up in the course of the week between nurses and teachers.
Okay.
So they had this kind of, how do I put it, a debate that some are saying to be a nurse is far better than being a teacher. Others are also saying to be a teacher is far better than being a nurse.
This debate, we had it in primary school.
And I'm surprised it is coming back again. Well, I will always side with the teachers, because without a teacher, who is a nurse? Who is a lawyer? Who is a doctor?
Because even the nurse has to double up as a teacher to teach more nurses. That debate has been... we've finished it.
By the help of...
So I also saw a video circulating on social media, a lady holding two different bottles of water.
Okay.
And one is a Ghanaian-made bottle of water, and then one is imported. And that bottle of water goes... So the imported one, Avian, it goes for 13 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
When our very own goes for about 1 cedi, between 1 cedi and 3 cedis, yes. So she was asking that, are we sure we can be buying that if our water bodies are all polluted?
Wow.
And then there were also comments on that we may think that we can import water to drink, but our foodstuff grown here may be grown with, mercury or all these mineral-infested water.
Sure.
So even after going to drink your imported water that you can afford, you're going to be eating food that is infected or infested with all kinds of minerals from the Galamsey. And if the Galamsey is not checked or stopped for our water bodies to heal and things like this, we won't have drinking water, we won't have bathing water, we won't have cooking water. Even rainwater is not going to be usable, because if you remember the hydrological cycle, it is the same water we have here that evaporates, all of that. So there is literally almost no way out if we don't check the issue of Galamsey in the country.
And I was surprised, perplexed. I mean,
dumbfounded,
flabbergasted when a minister or an MP
don't mention the name. Just
an MP stood on a stage and said, "We will not stop Galamsey today or tomorrow." There's a difference between mining in the forest and mining near water bodies. I was shocked when I heard such a comment from a highly esteemed, renowned individual in our society.
You know the worst part of all of that? The fact that these rivers, do they take their source from Volta or they drain into Volta? One of them. The Volta River does not have a lot of Galamsey going on around it, but it is seeping into it. And we have almost all our rivers already, the tributaries and things are already polluted. We are left with the Volta River. And even we have pharmaceutical companies saying that by, I think, 2030, Ghana may have to import water to be able to produce medicines. And then I was also watching, I think my cousin was watching an interview, and then they said something about the lady being interviewed was saying, you can't stop what the people want. And it begs the question, do we honestly think people want to risk their lives and their health for jobs that, like jobs like this Galamsey, if there was an alternative? Because if there wasn't an alternative, then you find them there. But if there were other jobs that would bring them a source of income, people would not risk their lives and be sacrificing babies and things just to be able to do this Galamsey.
It is just the love,
and even the mining.
The love for, luxury things, money, and also we not being sensitive about issues like this. Because, I mean, it is not for anything that we keep talking about Galamsey. Let's stop illegal mining. It is the devastating state of our water bodies that is driving all of us to talk about it. So I find it surprising when I see, big people like this. If you not say anything, just keep quiet.
Just keep quiet.
But then your silence is as good as saying something.
Because people recently we had the Ghana Journalism Awards or something, and the president was a guest speaker for the awards, and then apparently there's a video circulating that the GJA president made a comment about Galamsey, and the president was not happy. So when he went to sit by the president, he was
the body language
was bashing him and all that. I mean, and people also said when the president was given the platform, he didn't say anything about it. What do you want people to think?
But you see.
And the worst part is the brutalization of the protesters. Innocent protesters have been put in jail for over 7 days now. And, they are also, I think there's also another protest being planned for, I think, October 4th and 5th or so, because we need to stand up. Something needs to be done.
Yara, you see, this Galamsey issue,
I think we have a story to even discuss.
It's what can be brand new. But I saw one funny thing online. The person said we have 3 minerals in Ghana. We have gold, we have bauxite, and the new one is the granite soup. So I wanted to know the kind of granite soup, and the person was like, that's the polluted water bodies. And it's like
all you need is your fufu.
Exactly.
By the river.
But you get deformed children and things. Okay, so let's go quickly into the stories. But before that, we have comments. So Obiba again, our very own, says, I am an October born and I'm grateful to God for his sustaining grace.
When is your birthday, Obiba? So that
see me.
Buy you cupcakes. Then we also have Rose Entertainment says, good morning to you all and your Cocoa Digest team. Good morning to you too. Thank you for your comments. So yes, let's go quickly into the newspapers. Today we are back to hardcore.
Yes, today we are taking a new fold. Today is 1st October. Yes, so let's give you something different.
Oh, okay.
So this is the graphic business, and on the front page of the graphic business, it says sowing NPL, that is non-performing loans, threaten banking sector. So this is the story on the front page. When you say NPL or non-performing loans, they are the loans banks give, and after giving such loans, they are unable to recoup it back. So some of them ends up being bad debts. They have to write it off. So that is the issue they are talking about, that it has really gone up from 24.3%. It was, 4.3%. It is now 24.3%. So people take the loan and paying back is now the problem.
And some of them run away.
Yeah, so the question is why? Why will you go for loan and paying back could be a problem? It comes back to the standard of living. Because you go for a loan of 1,000, thinking you are going to start a business with. After taking the 1,000, you realize that, Charlie, you can't use the 1,000 to start anything proper. So by the time you realize you use it for 1, 2, 3, and the money is gone.
1,000 cedis is just like 100 cedis.
Yes, and inflation rate is also increasing. This kind of depreciation of our currency too. So when you go to the story, let me read something in the story. It said that despite major improvement in the banking sector, high non-performing loans ratio continues to strengthen its outlook. Cumulatively, the sector recorded a 24.3% in LPLS in August of this year, up from the 20% it's recorded in the same period in 2023. So, for instance, out of every 1,000 Ghana cedis released by the banks as loan, about 250 Ghana cedis is declared as non-performing. Non-performing. So you can see the banking sector today are losing such an amount of money. And I would say I won't blame the borrowers because
blame them small.
Yeah,
you know yourself.
Well,
some people do not take, loans of their size.
So no, Mimi, let's get certain things said. In reality, it is the standard or factors of, let's say, production. Assuming I'm a manufacturing company, I think we have a story about tariff. Because one of the major causes they spoke about is the increasing tariff that we have. High cost of electricity, water. So if a manufacturing company goes for a loan to produce an item, and now he's supposed to pay a lot on fixed cost alone, ask yourself, at the end of the day, he's supposed to put this cost on the item he's going to sell. So the cost per item for we consumer is going to be very high. And since he doesn't want to do that, he tries to break even. And doing that, he's not able to recoup his money back. And he ran at a loss.
They should also do their feasibility tests or analysis before they go in for the money.
But I think you're being too harsh on them people, because the way our system has become
high taxes,
right? So by the time the money is even maybe it's even a form of capital, you may not get your ROI. And that's what Clement is saying. So even after doing your feasibility studies, you think it will work out.
I think it will work out.
I have a small business, right? Now, anytime I'm going to get supplies, I don't budget. Because if I go today, next week if I go again, the prices are different.
Exactly.
So if I borrowed 500 CDs from the bank today and I was able to get maybe 10 items, when I go next week, I may just be able to get 5 items. If you don't, so maybe the only time I would agree with Mimi would be you need to foreshadow that, okay, the way things are, if I could use 500 for 10 things, I'm likely to use 500 for 5 things and this time. So, work around it. But then also you need the things. Then it means that you are not able to pay back. That is the problem too.
It is well.
Well, let's take some comments here. We have John Barting. He says, good morning, Coco Digest. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning to you too. Big family audience says, good morning, Yaira. You're all looking beautiful today. Then Godfred Adam says, creating jobs for the Galamsey workers will go a long way to curb the rate of it.
And I
absolutely agree with you.
I don't agree with you, Godfred. You think they will stop?
Yes, maybe they will stop.
If it is a lucrative enough job.
No,
and
Yaira, the whole issue is, Yaira said something about Galamsey that the reason why they are doing that is because there's no job. Seriously, I have been to some Galamsey community and you could say that these young people, it's not like they love doing the work. There's no work.
This is a job where you might even lose your life. You don't know when you go to work and you never come back. The exposure to these chemicals is affecting their health. They know. They are very much aware. But we will get there.
Yes,
that's conversation. I think we need a day on Coco Digest where we just vent. So yes, Mimi, what do you also have for us?
Okay, so I have today's daily graphic. Viewers should forgive me for my voice. I have, some...
Chew the frog.
So I have today's daily graphic with me, and on the front page we have some stories making headlines. Ireland promises to audit mining licenses. Springfield secures rig to appraise if Afina, oil field. We also have NDC launches Women's Manifesto and also gets license or shut down. This is from the Trade Minister as he directs cement producers, and that is our story for this morning. Now, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, has directed cement manufacturers to secure license or halt production immediately. The minister issued the directive last Tuesday to the Cement Manufacturing Development Committee set up last year to regulate the industry for prompt enforcement. The directive follows the coming into force of the Ghana Standards Authority Manufacture of Cement Regulations 2023 LI 2480, which mandates existing companies to re-register and secure a license and prohibits new factories without a license from operating. Now, throwing light on the new regime, the Director General of the GSA, Professor Alex Dodu, who chairs the CMDC, told the Daily Graphic that per the regulation, all the cement manufacturing companies in production without a license were doing so illegally and committing an offense. Still on the regulation, Professor Dodu said the directive by the Trade and Industry Minister had become necessary due to the non-compliance and also because of the growing number of manufacturers and the urgent need to protect the environment and consumers by ensuring that only quality cement products were sold in the country. Now, on how to secure a license, Section 18 of the law provides that a person who seeks to manufacture cement in the country shall apply in writing to the minister for a license. So basically, that is what the story is telling us this morning, that all cement manufacturing companies in the country who are operating without license are going to be shut down if they do not secure one immediately.
That's how will you operate without a license?
How did we even get here?
The lawlessness in this country.
Why are they now coming out to talk about this? Because from what I read, it looks like it's been in existence for a long time. People are, producing cement without. I'm not surprised. Most buildings are collapsing.
The quality of buildings has also dropped. The lawlessness in this country is serious, and then also the institutions that are to issue these licenses also play a role, because it seems as though in Ghana here we know that sometimes you go to obtain a certain document, a certain vital document, and they'll tell you it will take a certain number of days.
Yeah.
But if you want it fast-tracked, then you pay a certain amount. Now, how many of these people have that money to pay for people who have been employed to do their job? Now needing Nokofio to do something they could do within minutes or even a few days. They make it look as though it's going to take so long that the time may not, that by the time that time lapses or something, it may not even be needed.
It's a very bad habit.
So we are in a vicious cycle.
Seriously, it's a very bad habit. A lot of people are into that, and I'm very happy you raised that. You've been paid to do something. You've been paid. Like
monthly.
At the end of the month, you're going to be paid. Why should I give you money again so that you work on mine immediately? Why?
So, Mimi, that's the economy we find ourselves. And everybody tries to take advantage of the other without taking critical look at the impact of what I'm doing. I would always quote Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams.
Hey, take
You see,
us there.
Archbishop said something. He said the reason why we are facing all this economic hardship, it's not because of bribery and corruption, but he said it's because the leaders lack love for the country. Yes, because if you have love for the country, if you have love for what you are doing, why will you even engage yourself in bribery and corruption? So that is the whole thing.
But then also, it does not lie only with the leaders. It lies even with
the citizens.
The citizens.
Because
Even with us.
People who will go, who openly say, "Oh, let me give you Nokofio, do it for me."
Yes.
You see, because everybody is thinking about themselves. There is greed.
selfish.
The greed
That's-
and apathy is too much.
It's too much in
Now
this
people
country.
are also operating without licenses because they also know that the agencies that are supposed to also play supervisory roles to check these things are not doing their jobs.
They are weak. And at the end of the month, they'll be paid.
I remember seeing a post somewhere that I think someone had traveled to another country. They were talking about culture shock. And it was like, hey, in this country, you can't just get up and start a vulcanizing shop along the road. You need to obtain a license to put. And somebody also responded that if Africa is to work well, a lot of people will not be comfortable. And it is true.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously, because I've grown into a system. You know, let's say for my upbringing, I've seen that everything is normal. You can just set up a table by the roadside. People are selling on pedestrian, walkways, and there's nothing. I will see it as normal.
They will sack them immediately. The task force go. They'll come back.
And then they can also go and start, sharing grievances. That this is their source of livelihood.
Yes.
And people, the agencies are wicked. But we want things to work well. You know what?
This country. I'm not surprised that people are Japan these days.
Let's do all day. We love our country. Okay, we'll stay here and develop our country. So yes, for the online news, the first story says the cost of living will increase due to new utility rate hikes. This is from GUTA. So the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, which emphasizes the increase will further lower consumers' purchasing power, has questioned the reasons behind the most recent upward adjustment in water and electricity tariffs. And there's an increase in water tariff and electricity. If this GALAMSEY doesn't stop, water bills will even be worse because now they'll say they are trying to purify the water for us to use, right? Anyway, moving on. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, announced on Saturday, September 28, that effective October 1, electricity rates will increase by 3.02% and water rates will increase by 1.86% for the third quarter of 2024. The PURC cited fluctuations in gas prices, inflation, and exchange rates as justifications for the upward adjustments, and Joseph Paddy, the GUTA Public Relations Officer, lamented that the rise will lower Ghanaians' quality of living.
As well. As it stands now, I don't think as a country this is what we need now. Considering, the economic hardships, the
water that has already been polluted. You're coming to pay more for it.
I mean,
so let me come a little bit with this. Speaking on the aspect of PURC, and one day cite an instance that cost of production of this electricity and water equally has increased because they made it a point that due to depreciation, and in terms of depreciation, most of the items they use is imported. And since every blessed day, the cedi is depreciating to the dollar, you see, there's a lot of money that is being pumped into that sector to make sure that we get what we need. And not moving away from the issue of GALAMSEY, the aspect of water bodies, they need a lot of chemicals now to be able to purify the small one we have, the water we have. So you could say the cost of production or the cost of purification of these water bodies will also go up. And if it goes up, there is no business organization who would like to run at a loss. Because per the report, they say that due to the issue they have now, there is a revenue shortfall in terms of electricity and in terms of water. But they don't want that thing to happen. Because when it continues like this, they will not be able to pay their other agencies that are producing them with other items they need for their production. Notwithstanding, yes, we understand PURC, but the timing to me is wrong.
Exactly.
The timing to me is wrong because look at the situation we find ourselves. The economic hardship. And now if you increase electricity by 3.02%, if I used to buy electricity at 100 cedis, now I'm going to pay 103 Ghana cedis, 0.2 pesos. That's what I'm going to pay for electricity. If water is 50 cedis, now I'm going to pay water for about 50 Ghana cedis with some pesos. So the issue is, my salary or my wages has not increased. Nothing of mine has gone high, but what I need as a necessity is now increasing. So the cost of living is still going to go high. So PURC should have equally look at we Ghanaians, ordinary Ghanaians like us, who can't afford. Because some people, whether the tariff increase to 100% or 200%, they don't care because they can afford. But what about some people like us? What about ordinary Ghanaian? So this is a situation we are talking about. In as much we understand your justification, the inflation rate, we understand. But the issue is this is not the right timing.
But then the question too is, then when is the right time?
So, Yaira, the right timing is when you realize that the standard of living has improved. That is the right time. The right timing is when you realize that depreciation in terms of Ghana cedis is now appreciating. Our cedis is appreciating to United dollar. Where you can buy United dollar around, let's say, 10 cedis or 12 cedis. Now it's 16 cedis. So if it's 16 cedis, how do an ordinary Ghanaian like me be able to purchase this electricity tariff and stuff? And notwithstanding, the right timing will come when you realize that, yes, my salary has shoot up. This wages or this, look at this is a situation of the GUTA people. They are just looking for condition of service, and it's just an allowance. So assuming these people are on strike because of an allowance, just to cushion their standard of living, and now electricity cost too has also gone high. What happens? It's a headache on us.
But you know, with the CD appreciating and the rest, when our CD appreciates, how long does it even last there before it depreciates again?
Yeah, so it all bounces back to our economic management. They should be able to put measures in place. Now, yes, from the MPC, that is the Monetary Policy Committee, when the governor was addressing the press, he made mention, yes, they are putting measures in place in terms of the gold initiative that they put in place. So they are believing that moving forward, the CD will start appreciating. We are hoping. So the PURC could have checked all these things before they come out with the increment in tariff. All what we are saying is ordinary Ghanaian can't afford what they are putting out there. And you see, the most exciting part is when it happens like this, people will start to shift to other items. But the question is, what is the alternative for water? For electricity, you can,
there's no alternative.
For water, for electricity, apart from, you can shift to solar.
Even solar,
you can shift to solar.
Even solar is expensive. Then also we don't have enough people with the skills to be able to install or repair or maintain
or
generate the solar systems for us.
So it's headache. If not for our other appliances, you see, and I think this is the time that Ghanaians too, we should use the efficient home appliances. You see, some appliances drain it can pull electricity power so much. So this is the time we need to get used to this appliances which will not drain more of the power but quite less. And when it happens like, you will not spend more on the electricity and water as well.
Okay, so we have a comment here. This one says, that's Ghana for you. No fuel for quick results which don't end up well in the system is bad. Then he also says, already our water bodies are being polluted by Galamsey and we are still experiencing doom. So instead of them finding solution to these issues, rather than increasing bills, Ghana with their no fuel. Thank you for your comment. So the next story here says, government releases designs for 609 new public servant residences, and this is saying that Ghana's government is planning to build 609 new residences that are specially designed to meet the needs of public employees, which is a huge development for them. And the Minister of Works and Housing, Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, announced this effort on Monday, September 30, 2024, at a press meeting in Accra. He claims that by giving the public sector workers safe and suitable accommodation, the project demonstrates the government's commitment to enhancing housing circumstances. And under district housing scheme, which intends to address the housing needs of public sector personnel such as teachers, nurses, police officers, and other key workers, especially those assigned to rural and underserved areas, these dwellings are being constructed. We thank you. Let's do it. We need 1 unit.
It's a good
Klokstag has been PAMCA housing scheme, so for us we have our own.
But I want us to connect the dots here. How much, let's give an estimate.
The cost.
How much does a public servant receive in Ghana now? And will they be able to afford these affordable houses?
The name is affordable houses.
It is just a name. It's just like someone saying, "Oh, I'll give you something free," but you have to. But there is a but.
Sure, there is but.
There's always a condition.
And it brings my mind back to that tenant, the housing conversation I had some weeks back. And my guest was talking about the fact that the materials used to construct these buildings are usually imported, hence making the pricing very, very high for the normal person. So if our minister or ministry is working on housing for public sector workers, then they should look at the cost, because based on this, they know our salaries. Based on our salaries, our degrees, our grades and everything, we will be able to afford houses or, you know, some form of housing units that would probably be priced in dollars.
We just finished talking about high, you know, standard of living.
Exactly.
You know, increase in cost, products, you know, prices going up here and there. And then we have an affordable housing. The electricity tariffs are up, water are up. Are we going to be able to pay?
Yeah, so the word is affordable, affordable housing.
The affordable housing we have now.
They are not affordable.
I don't know which members of society were the target market, but it's not you and I.
Seriously. Those studio, you know, type of rooms.
Studio apartment. And
but Yara, there is interesting thing from the Ministry of Works and Housing. Personally, I wanted to try to find out more into this. They are now constructing 600 units, right?
609.
And they said it's going to be in the various districts. They will just locate it. But way back 2012, that's during the era of the former government, there was this housing project that they started at Pram Pram. That's Negro Pram Pram district. That's the name is, I think, Saglimi Housing Project. Housing. And this project, after the phase 1, that's I think constructed almost 1,000 flats, 1,500 flats. We didn't hear about it again. The only thing we heard was that there was a lot of loopholes in the contracts, procurement process, up and down, and people have been following up on that very project because after, let's say, 2012 till now, that is 12 years down the line. The question is, what is the state of the project now? Because all these things need to be looked at before this new one is started, or they start this new one. But the minister in the press conference, someone asked the question, he was like, yes, this project, they are now having a partnership deal with a private entity to make sure the completion is done as soon as possible. And in the next 14 days, Ghanaians will hear a good news. Yes, we are waiting to hear that good news, because if one is not completed, how do you start two? And is it because it was started by a different government?
Yes, that's what I'm even about to talk about, that our governments, let me just use political parties because it's just these two, they tend to neglect whatever their predecessors have started, but forgetting that it is all for the good of the nation. And even Ghanaians ourselves, we tend to like new things because, you know, with even these manifestos and campaigns, conversations about them, we hear people saying things like, yes, they are talking, all they are saying, they've done it before. What new thing are you bringing? But then what about the old?
The old ones.
How much benefit have we even gained from it? How much have we even improved the old? You know, this Saglemi housing shouldn't have taken 12 years for us to finally start hearing something about it. Because if the incumbent government had done something about it when they came into power, it would have solved so much of the housing deficit issues that we have now. And
do you know, currently our housing deficit is 1.8 million.
Wow.
Currently, 2010 it was 2.8. Now it's 1.8. But the interesting part is, if the current government will tell us that they use the whole 12 years to investigate the brouhaha surrounding the Saglemi project, then I start
forever for this.
Yes, and the same thing happens. That of the there was another project known as a Kofrodia affordable housing project. I don't know if you heard of that. And that one, they are saying that it was abandoned for some time. And now the minister is also saying that, yes, there's GIF, that's Government Infrastructure Investment Fund. Is going to partner with them to make sure they complete that project.
Well,
so why don't you check for the completion of this project?
Exactly. I think
the money you are going to invest in this new one, why don't you now just channel it there to make sure it's completed?
Exactly. Finish it and then let some people.
Because
I mean, people
all,
will be willing to
how
move.
many months do they even have to be in office? Because looking at the elections, I don't know what's going to happen.
How many months?
So why don't you use that money to complete what we already have? When you come back into power, then you continue.
Because I won't be surprised that when they start this project, and assuming they leave office, the new government will come and say that there is also another brouhaha surrounding this.
Well, let me read a few comments and then we move to the last story quickly. So ABK TV Ghana says, good morning, Yaira. Good morning to you. Akman Multimedia says, good morning, Auntie Mimi and Cocoa Digest team. Wow, your makeup artist did well, Pa. You are really looking pretty this morning. You need to take the makeup artist for breakfast this morning. Madam.
Please, I did my own makeup.
Then take yourself out. So we also have a comment from TA saying, review the rent law. Wakasem. Thank you very much for your comments. So the last story is on our, should I even call it precious? Our very own GALAMSEY. And this is saying, GALAMSEY, ANGLO ASHANTI warns of production risks and health hazards. So mining companies in Ghana's western region, including ANGLO ASHANTI, are sounding alarm over the escalating threat of illegal mining, or GALAMSEY, which is polluting previously protected water bodies, including streams, and undermining their environmental conservation efforts. The company also revealed that these illegal activities have resulted in theft of their property, forcing them to spend additional funds to replace stolen equipment. And Abraham Osei Bedu, acting managing director of ANGLO ASHANTI, highlighted the proximity of GALAMSEY operations to their concession as a significant threat to their production.
I was waiting for some of these mining companies
to also come out.
Exactly.
Before you start here, I think I saw something on social media that Ghana is about the size of Oregon in the US, and we have more mining licenses than the whole US put together. And something about, I think we have about 1,000 and something mining licenses that have been issued in the past few years already.
Interesting.
And then also, fine, ANGLO ASHANTI probably has a license. Now, like we said the other day, maybe some side hustles too, so they've associated themselves with ANGLO ASHANTI, but ANGLO ASHANTI is coming out to say that there are some illegal miners that are close to them, also engaging in the same activities illegally. What is going on?
So I think, Yaira, we need to say, stop GALAMSEY now. That should be the call. We should call the spade a spade. We shouldn't try to polish it and make it look like it's not what we are talking about. Everybody who is involved in this very thing should put a stop to it.
And I'm very happy that, organized labor is, planning to embark on a strike because they also, constitute a larger form of working force. But I want to say this. I find it funny and interesting when I see people try to associate GALAMSEY issues as being, political parties, partisanship.
Everybody will die from it too.
I don't understand. when I was talking about this MP's remark, he made mention of the fact that the other political party, went to bring people to go into our water bodies, to destroy our water bodies, so that it will look like it is the illegal mining that is affecting our water bodies. And I was like,
just imagine.
Are you
just
serious?
It's okay. But it's funny as you said. And Mimi, I happen to be on one platform over the weekends. I was saying something about this GALAMSEY and how people would attack you as a partisan, how people would attack you that you are for this political party. And I was like, really? We've become so blinded by party colors to an extent that we can't see the reality.
And someone even said it's an agenda.
When they start consuming the polluted, they will go blind totally so that it will be
finished. They said it's an agenda set by the media to take out the incumbent government.
Open Google Maps.
I want to
check.
do Google Maps, so Yara. I was in Takrady. That was last weekend. I was in Takrady, and I visited some water bodies. I was trying to bring some. My mom was like,
yes,
Meba,
you know,
Meba Misrel, and Kanga Passembia Mamio. So you see that kind of thing.
Suggested that media houses should actually have the Galamsey water on their sets.
Oh, I nearly brought one. I nearly brought one.
But we're in this country, and we've read in the news that they are mining just by the roadside.
Just by the roadside.
And somehow it
and
is
this
political.
one too is political.
Oh, come on. Let us be serious.
Serious, so one
honestly,
day,
yes, we need to find alternatives for these galamseyers to, you know, make a living. But then also we need to think about our resources. Water is a finite resource. It is just the hydrological cycle we are going through. And if our last one, the Volta Lake, is also fully polluted now, our electricity powering would be affected.
Yeah.
And then if it drains into the sea, we can't use the sea even as our backup plan. If you like, go and find out how much Gaddafi invested into getting the pipeline thing for the sea and all of that. It's going to cost us a lot of money. And the sea is already polluted with plastic and fabric waste.
And even the salt.
That is also another issue. And
just that we don't have to buy salt, extra salt.
Goodness. I'm really hoping that our neighboring countries would also rise up to speak against these things, because these water bodies flow through all these countries.
Yeah, all these
Togo,
countries.
Burkina Faso, and Cote d'Ivoire. Please, let us
It is good that you mentioned this, because it looks like most of them are waiting for
things to be exacerbated.
We were in this country when the few people, I mean the media, started this protest. And, you know, there were some kind of, you know, restrictions. Media for the but now everybody's coming together to talk about it, because we know how bad,
you know,
our
even
resources
with the water thing again. I was thinking about it. Even we ourselves, how many of us drink bottled water on a regular, or it's even a staple in our home?
Bottled water, no cramp. Where do we get the bottled water from?
Even the pure water, we are not very sure of how potable it is. That is holding
it's
us.
Just packaging. Packaging.
But it's funny. Yes, I understand that gold contributes a lot to our GDP. But when you go to a country like South Africa, they are one of the largest in producing gold, and they don't do what we are doing. So there are a lot of ways we can go about mining what is underground.
We've been mining.
We've
been mining. We are
to an extent that we don't pollute our water bodies.
We are still where we are economically. We are still where we've been mining. We are still here.
But Bank of Ghana will tell that if you introduce a Ghana gold coin, of which I'll talk about on the business of this segment.
So, thank you so
Ghana
much.
gold coin.
This brings us to the end of the online and newspaper.
Yeah, so I have there's one girl, Mamifa, Cape Coast, says she's watching, and you guys are doing very good.
Thank you.
Amate inside at Tinka team is also watching us this morning. Hi, Amate.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us here. Yes, this brings us to the end of the online and newspaper review. And I would like to admonish all of us that Ghana is ours, the water bodies. We rely on every single one of these water bodies, these resources. So please add your voice to this protest. Let us get this activity in check and protect our resources and our own health and our lives as well. Up next is the lifestyle segment with Miriam and her guest. And like I said, it's about fitness. So please go and change into your gym wear and let's get interactive and find out how best to maintain our health. Right back.